It was when we were in Italy in the summer of '92.
A romantic story of what you had Slamptumentary.
We were on a coach between Siena and Florence, Siena and Florence, and Rach, we were just sitting in complete silence, as you do when you're doing a lot of travelling with someone else, and like Rach said to me, turned around and said, "What are you thinking about?" I said, "Nothing very much," and I said, "What are you thinking about?" And she said, "I've come up with this whole plan kind of thing," and like spewed out the whole thing sort of thing in one, and then we just sort of came up with the whole idea of what it was going to be, quite contrivedly, as you said. Actually, you know, there were no bands in Newcastle at the time, not even Avocado Baby had started, or Pussycat Trash. There was just Stick Fuck, which was Simon, and another bloke doing obnoxious, offensive music, which was great, and Lump Sucker were pretty good as well. Apart from that, there was nothing. Delicate Vomit hadn't started either. Then we came back to England, did a fanzine, coupled together 100 quid. But it did a load of tapes with the money that we made back from that. About a year later. Oh yeah. Okay. About a year later, we started doing vinyl.
Yeah, we're just going to move it now.
John Peel got us in for got this Cat Trash in for a session, and we made so much money out of it that we had enough to press the Big Cat Trash single and things like that. So we just eventually kept cobbling money together here and wherever. I always think back to that first year and think it was quite good that we managed to do everything for a whole year. Like we did like 4 tapes and several fanzines on like 100 quid sort of thing. Because we just kept restarting. We had a box in the corner of the room. We would just stick all these 50p's that people sent for the fanzine in there. We had like hundreds of them, right? And then that was all we had, money-wise. Yeah.
But I think something of the scene was also very based in the North East thing as well.
Me and my friend Kerry did a Paddle Club, which is basically, the idea is to follow kind of a broader kind of agenda than Slampt, because Slampt is great for what it does, yeah, which is clearly, like they've got ideological objectives and they stick to them, and I get a real scene going, which is a lot of people can't fit into that, right? And the idea is, I think that there's a lot more in music that's like kind of worthwhile than what Pete Nature do. It's fine, that's fine with them, but I want to put it on, like, well, that's the case where you can put Kinnicky or somebody on and get 100 people, because they deserve that, you know. I mean, it's fine if 20 people are Kinnicky's friends, or Mr. X's friends, or whoever, you know, coming to a gig, but there's a need for more than that, you know. And like, kind of, when I moved here, I was like 18, I used to go to the Wish Club. That's precisely what I did, you know. It was like, kind of, you know, loads of like local people came, loads of students came, and it worked, you know. And that had to like follow that, and like Slamp's has got its own place. It's like kind of irreplaceable, but there's like kind of room for, you know, to do something else as well. In fact, it's necessary. I was about to say, I had a secret link between me and Pete, yeah. The other 3 of them were at Sunderland Poly, as it was then, not university as it is now, and I was here, being a sad student, and Pete came out to one day in the Wish Disco itself at the Riverside, and said, by the way, do you know anyone who plays the drums? I said, yeah, I do. So I went over and I thought of him and Jim were brilliant songwriters, and I went for it, and it was brilliant, and it's a shame it split up before it got really good, but that's Pete's fault, so I'm not going into that. Oh, right, what went wrong? Nothing went wrong apart from personal musical differences, but nobody told me. But I don't hold any grudges or anything, it happens, you know, so, you know, I mean...
So it wasn't anything to do with Razor Blade Smile? You're not the founding fathers of the scene?
No, I don't think so. If anything, they're like the founding fathers of my distaste for the music industry, perhaps, but, you know, sort of learned by experience form of hatred.
So since you started doing Slampt, has it become much more popular in terms of the amount of records you can sell? Is that much easier or not?
Massively. I mean, no, we still sort of sell 500 in most of the 7 inches. We sell a bit more of some, like the Yummy Fur's done a bit better in Kinnicky, and Pussycat Trash did 1,000 of La La Gula, but it's not like huge quantities. But, you know, there is definitely actually more people who know about it now. Especially after we did the compilation LP, but I wouldn't say it's like globally huge. But
so, who are your favourite local band now then?
What do you mean by local?
Newcastle scene, Middlesbrough, whatever.
Well, if you mean like the northeast, Shrug, because they're always brilliant, because then turning the political and two drummers are always like, you know, you got it, and Golden Starlet, although I don't know what's happening to them, because again, two drummers and they're funny and sarcastic and they're brilliant.
I suppose we actually got the impetus to form the band when Rachel actually said we had a gig. I felt that, oh well, it's probably better do something.
So, who was the gig with?
That was the gig with Heavenly
Your first gig you spotted Heavenly? Wow.
at the Sons and Dance in about a year and a half ago.
And how long did you have to rehearse?
A week. And write all the songs. Well, minus about 2 songs we'd written before.
Okay. Was it a good gig?
It was excellent.
Well,
We were very shoddy, but it was good fun.
And Kinnicky, because Kinnicky are like what pop music ought to be, you know. I mean, like, pop music is a good thing, it's not a bad thing, you know. Like, it's not something to be like kind of shut away and go, oh my god, oh no, like people will like it, you know.
And we left common school and like we didn't really have
after a few weeks we're sort of really decadent, you know, sort of doing whatever, like, then after a couple of weeks decadent,
because like we were the only ones who left, really, me, Marie and Emma.
So like all of our friends after GCSEs.
Yeah.
So all of our friends at the time didn't have any fun in the holidays.
So like we were like, we left school, yeah! Like this and sort of like
really excited.
Running around everywhere. And then we were at the party and I was drunk and I said to Rachel Slamptumentary, I was like showing off about my band, which obviously I hadn't formed
at that time.
So,
but it sounded cool to
and
see.
I was reciting Grease, I think. I can't really remember. But so like the next day she said, "Oh, give us a tape," and obviously we were scared. So we did, and we learned 2 chords, and we did a tape called Uglification, and then we got a gig 2 weeks later. By the time we could do 3 chords,
which was useful. That third chord was very handy at that point.
And I mean, this is like, it was so bad because still can't really play, but at the beginning we just really couldn't play.
And,
do you remember when I turned off my guitar and I didn't know how to turn it on again, so I sang my guitar solo.
Yes, I remember that.
And my guitar solo was only
but it was alright.
But I sang it.
You were in the Unseen. That's the first band of yours that I know about.
Yeah.
How did that happen? That was before you knew about Slant, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because me and Glyn were into Sebado, so we were going to do a band that was like Sebado, and put out lots of acoustic cassettes, but then it ended up, we got Daniel into drum, played a few times in Morpeth, sent Slamp type, and so put a tape out through them, so that. Are you going to interview the Unseen at any point?
Possibly. You think I should?
on the new tape, I've got something called The Morpeth Scene as Dead or something.
Hmm.
So I can ask them about that.
Well, they probably don't count us because we've got a product person.
Well, I think they do count us, that's really who they're talking about.
Alright.
Well, because I think they're splitting it, and I suppose since Demerara don't seem to be going anymore.
So you and Jeff formed Missy X as a vehicle for what, songwriting or something?
Just as a vehicle for it to have something to do,
Right.
I think.
And that's been going since?
It'll be since about June of last year, I think. Or just over a year.
Right. And with the current lineup since what, October last year, September?
Probably, yeah.
Right. Do you think you've improved?
Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. I don't know, but I seem to be able to remember all the songs and everything better when I was in the unseen than I can now. I wouldn't make so many mistakes there. And he was the Unseen's biggest fan at that time, which is why I got introduced.
Rock stars. Oh yes. Might meet rock stars like Kid Lemon.
Now it's playing backwards, isn't it? I think we should.
That mystery man. Yes, Jeff. I'm sorry, I'm not going to play up to this Kid Lemon. Who is he? He's a man of mystery thing at all. No, it's Jeff. He plays bass in this band called Missy X. I don't know much about him now. He lives in Prudhoe, and he works as an office clerk.
So why did Pussycat Trash split up?
Well, it was really Rosie's decision in terms of, well, Rachel actually said to me separately that she'd had enough and didn't really want to do it anymore and fancied doing something a bit different. And but then without Rachel saying anything to Rosie, Rosie just sort of came along to a Yummy Fur and Kinnicky gig, in fact, in Sunderland, and just out of the blue said that she didn't want to do it anymore. And, you know, basically both of them made that decision, and that's fair enough. And so that was the end of it, really. I think we'd had done everything that we wanted to, and some more, really. So, you know, we were all really proud of it, what the stuff that we did, and you know, there's no need for us to be precious about stuff like that. It was fun while it lasted, sort of thing. If we continued for any longer, it might not have been any good anymore, anyway.
Well, I'll start with the crap one. Why did Pussycat Trash split up?
Because we all hated one member of the band. That's the basic truth. And also we had to progress musically, and we had to destroy the monster that Pussycat Trash had become.
What happened to Mark Kenny's fucking... I'd like to say it wasn't a personal decision to leave the band, but it was. Because when I first was in Mark Kenny's, it was all like quite, you know, fun thing to do and quite entertaining. I was never serious about it. It was a fun thing to do. I mean, I'm not just saying Marcus I'm being serious about because it's what they were interested in, but that's what music is. It's something I'm very interested in. I enjoy drumming a lot, and in the beginning I enjoyed the sort of, you know, we had quite a good laugh together and stuff, but too much stuff happened that is just too hard to go into. And it's not anyone particularly fucking around anyone else, I don't think. But to a certain extent, I just got very, very distant from Simon, who was the main reason why I was in the band. So, you know, I thought there was no point being in the band anymore. The particular night I left, he kind of, you know, pissed me off in quite a few ways, doing things that I didn't understand why he'd done. So I just thought, well, it's time to leave. It's not fun anymore.
Let's do Fish Lady. It's a love song. There are ladies in the house. I was wandering down a Hidden Road fish shop. I saw you. You were standing by the counter there. I fancied a nice piece of cod, and hell, being the kind of cod man that I am, I just thought that you alone.
Partially musically, although obviously they're more in the emo, hardcore end of things. But secondly, like attitude-wise, that the kind of do-it-yourself thing and all that.
To make sure that we know where people stand and they know where we stand. We don't like being a free A&R department for major labels. We don't want to help major labels make money because they already make enough as they are. We don't want any point of connection with the conventional music industry, and if we have a band that does a record for us and then goes on to sign to Sony or Creation or the same thing anyway, then that gives us that point of connection that we don't want. So you will try like to not, you know, to make sure bands know that's how we feel and that check out that is how they see their bands going. But obviously people change over time, that's fair enough, but certainly the point at which we're working with the band, we want them to be into being punks, not in a Mohicans and leather jackets sense, but in a sort of not wanting to assimilate into conventional society sense.
I got a letter off Pete, and like he wasn't happy about like the response he got to. They wanted to release the single in America, so I've like written him a letter, and I've got to send it yet. But it's like basically it just tells him a few things, and the point is that with Slamped we like them still. I mean, you know, we're not pleased about some of the things they've done or said, but like if people are nice, they're just nice, and I think like they're nice.
We still like them, you know.
But the thing is, it's like they asked us to be straight with them all the time, and we never did anything except that. You know, we've never lied to them or anything. I mean, they said like, now tell us if you know. I mean, it's like it got to the point where it's like Alan McGee was sort of coming to visit us and stuff, and getting a jet down to Sunderland, and it was like, we just had to sort of say something, you know.
We just had to, you know.
What they said now, if you're sort of doing sellout type things, tell us.
Let
And
us
they said,
know.
well, we're doing
sellout
type things. And, like, it's just.
We had a really good time on Slamped, but we can't do
they didn't,
both things at once.
They didn't want us to. They weren't happy with us doing this stuff, so.
And that's what we want to do. So it was just inevitable, really. We can't do
It's like,
both.
I mean. But I mean, I still think they're a good label, and
they are.
I mean, it's not even like we've signed to anyone or anything, but it's like they weren't happy with what we were doing, so we said, well, fair enough. If you're not happy, we don't want to make you unhappy, so leave. But that, I mean, that's not saying we're brilliant, because we did get EMI to pay for a 3-course meal and stuff.
You know,
and,
I mean, we've done this sort of thing.
It's like, but that's so. I mean, we did sort of sacrifice their principles, but that was their principles and not ours.
No, Knicky, musically, to me, have always deserved a massive amount of success, just because it seems like they're quite precocious talents. To me, it's a shame that they could have been bigger by just doing things completely independently and not getting involved in the music business, but they didn't think that they could, so that's the way they did things, which is fair enough. The only thing really I have to say about Knicky is I can't really understand how they're treating us now, because they do, like, you know, we did a lot for them, and we don't really expect much back from our bands except that they do things for themselves, and they turn round and they just like sent us a letter saying you are not allowed to press up any more of our record and things like that, which is pretty when it comes down to it, because it's one of the few records that me and Pete could actually have made a very small amount of money out of, like to pay our rent or something like that. And they also never played it straight with us. Like, we were always said, you know, we do things in an independent way and are not particularly interested in being involved with a band that doesn't want to do things that way, just because it compromises us. And they would never give us a straight answer to that until we'd released their 7-inch. So.
How do you think they could have been bigger by being independent?
Well, I mean, the amount of airplay somebody like John Peel's given them, you don't need to do things through the proper channel if you want to get big. I mean, this is the whole problem in Britain. People think that if you want to be really big, you have to do things through the right channels, but ultimately you don't need to. And Knicky could have been perfect proof of that. They could have sold massively large amounts of LPs, made a living out of it without having to go through. In fact, they would probably be better off financially in the long run to have gone through independent channels, and they would have always been creatively in control of themselves. But it seems ultimately what they want to be is famous rather than to be in creative control.
As Rachel said, because we went to great lengths writing very long letters saying the politics of what we do is incredibly important to us, and if your intention is to sign to a big label, which they sort of murmured was their intention, and we don't really want to go ahead with this single, they didn't write back to us. We thought that indicated that they were intending to sign to go the big way. We were going to pull out the record. In the end, we just decided we loved their music so much that we just wanted to do it anyway. They still seemed to be enthusiastic, so we asked them to do a split LP with Yummy Fur. They were really excited about it. They started getting really a lot of money offered to them, and one Monday I phoned Marie up and said, "Are you still doing this record?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course, we wouldn't let you down. What do you take us for?" kind of thing. And she phoned back on the Wednesday and said, "Oh, we're not doing it." Pulled out of it, kind of thing. Things like that made me pretty bitter at the time. I felt like they sort of took advantage of us, totally ignored how we felt, but that's what you have to do if you want to be famous. You've got to trample over people, basically. I can understand that.
Considered, really.
It's like people just ring you up all
like
the
a
time.
duck to water, really.
Oh,
Fame is
brilliant.
easy to adapt to.
It's really, it's just fun. be our friends.
Yeah.
We're not horrible, we're not nasty sellouts. Well, we're sellouts, but we're not nasty.
Not nasty ones.
I think selling out's presumptuous anyway. Who says there's anything wrong with selling out? No. We're just out for a laugh and
we're prepared to take you with us.
Ice Rink I don't know that much about. Fierce Panda is like a totally phony DIY label basically. It's run by Simon Williams, who works at the NME, who you know, and so obviously it means all the bands who that are on the label are going to get a load of music press coverage, and it's all part of the kind of way that the whole London music industry is sort of based on a load of people being friends with each other and slapping each other on the back and doing each other's favours and stuff. But I just really despise the Fierce Panda label because it does these 7 inches and the fold over sleeves, and it's got all these kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Well, it's got the paraphernalia of underground punkness sort of thing, like the fold over sleeve. In reality, I'm sure they can afford to do sealed sleeves and 12 inches and all the rest of it, but they, I think they've made a deliberate decision to do those kind of things to make it appear punk, and also to try and keep it a secret. The fact that Simon Williams runs it and all this, so I really hate that. Ice Rink I don't really know much about, except that Bob Stanley from St Etienne runs it, who phoned us up and seemed like a nice enough bloke, but we did Shampoo records. So.
And then we did a song for Ash.
Asher releasing an album of their favourite bands called
something.
What's it called?
I can't remember.
Oh, it's a CD, limited edition CD.
We'll tell you when
and
we remember.
We did a track called Punker on it, K-Punker.
Yeah. And
what else?
We've got 2 singles that will be coming out the very minute we record them.
One on Ice Rink and one on
Fierce Panda.
Fierce Panda. Like in Scotland, I mean, I really like the Yummy Fair, obviously. Major influence. We did our first ever gig with the Yummy Fair, and they've been like there, old friends, and just Long Leg Fab, obviously.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
And Starstruck were really good as well. Philip was organ and Starstruck was so cool.
Oh, it was great.
A place like Glasgow, and it was desperately in need of a record label like Vesuvius, simply because there's so many bands and such a supportive network there already.
seems to be a lack of ambition. People either want to be like, oh yeah, we want to be an NME melody maker band because we want to be dead famous in that indie way, and so they just completely copy wholesale what is like really cool in the NME or melody maker at that time. Or there seems to be kind of, oh well, we can just only be a joke band kind of thing. It's like that there should just be a scene in Newcastle and that's all that is. Should be a serious thing. People should take it seriously. Like, I would much rather play in Newcastle than anywhere else. But people just don't take our bands seriously just because we live there. See, in Newcastle, if an American band comes to play, everyone's dead enthusiastic about it. But they're not very they're less enthusiastic about English, unless they've been in the music press, obviously. And it's a pretty pathetic situation when you have a magazine like Paint It Red that has a specific page for local music, and it like gives all these bands brief mentions and doesn't take any of them seriously at all, simply because they're local. It seems very detrimental basically to the whole Newcastle scene, in that if you're a band from Newcastle then you can't possibly be a serious band. But what I would ideally like is for lots of other things like Slamp to be springing up all over the country, even like in the northeast and stuff. Other people feeling like they can put out stuff by themselves, or other local bands that they think is really amazing. It should be a nationwide thing, whereas in Britain at the moment, unless you go look at the hardcore scene, it doesn't really seem to be happening. People seem to be dead reliant upon making it, becoming really famous straight off, and it's just not a good situation. For things to be more localised I think it's pretty important for there to be a healthy scene in Britain rather than the kind of fast turnover of bands like that are hyped through the NME or Melody Maker or whatever the deal is. We would like to sell more records and stuff, but unless the underground expands in Britain, we probably won't. See, the amount of encouragement we get from America is quite astonishing, really. But they already have an independent network set up there, whereas don't in Britain.
So which band and which record labels, apart from the one you've already mentioned, support you from America?
Well, it's not even just bands and record labels. It's more a case of just getting a huge volume of enthusiastic posts and things like that, and like from France and other places as well. But yeah, from America they just actually seem to appreciate what it is we're doing, whereas in Britain not all of it obviously, but the vast majority of our post is just like, please send me this record. Whereas from America it's like, you guys are fucking rad, please send me this record. So yeah. Good.
We start again. Let's lose our place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Milky Wimshake's been almost completely inactive for about a year. We've done, I think, one gig properly and a couple of things where I've just played on my own or just got whoever was around to just back me up a bit. But we're just hoping to get more active because Christine's back in Newcastle now. We're doing a gig over the road in 2 weeks tonight, and I can't get hold of Joey, who's the drummer. She's living in Hull, but she's moved and hasn't told us her new address, so we're going to be getting this guy called Grant to fill in. I don't know whether he's going to be the permanent drummer, but that would be quite good because he lives in Newcastle as well, which would mean for the first time we'd all be living in the same town, so we'd actually be able to practice, more than once every 3 months, which is pretty much what we, I think we've practiced like say 7 times in the 2 years we've been together. So, and we're going to do another 7-inch before the end of the year as well. I mean, it's quite frustrating because I've got like a backlog of 50 or 60 songs that have never really been played except for in my bedroom. So like, at some point we'll be able to play them hopefully. Avocado Baby is we're going to do like a 7-inch for Kay, as Rachel said, hopefully do some gigs in America if we can get it sorted, and just carry on sort of doing the kind of stuff that we've been doing before, because it's totally just for fun basically. Avocado Baby, it's lovely that a lot of people do seem to really like it. My mum really likes it, and that's nice. Have you had it?
Always end up being in buildings which look like they're on the edge of the world.
Because that's Slouch, we are on the edge of the world. There is no other place for us, we are on the edge.
It's really striking because this building, when you come to it, it's the only thing on the skyline.
Yeah.
And it's saying that, where is it, the bridge in Newcastle?
Yeah, and the bridge and the telegraph pretty much as well, and the Broken Doll as well. It was all, it's just like, people must turn up for the first time and go, shit, God, what's going on here? We really are out in the sticks now.
It's like sun demolishes everything.
Yeah, that's quite a good idea, yeah.
Why am I supposed to be asking you whether you prefer wigs or tattoos?
Because Peter asked me the question last night, and I couldn't decide between one or the other.
Well, you're on the spot now.
Yes, I think it was a question of permanence versus temporary.
Yeah.
Some kind of question like
Which
that.
is the good?
It's like Brian Ferry or Milton Dean, you all say.
Well, that's it. I think it's impossible to choose Napoleon or Iliad.
Into them.
Morris, Michael,
I
Nick.
can't remember. No, it's a girl's
Oh,
name.
girl. Mongoose.
Mongoose, yeah. He's got this brilliant wig.
Oh,
It starts
it's lovely.
It's lush, we're running around in it.
Why do you get a tattoo of one of the ones from Mersey, Yatra?
Probably because I like Lum best at the time. I
so
don't know.
What's best about that?
I just like the idea of a tiger skin bikini clad alien princess.
By the very end of the 90s, Rachel and I sort of burned out on it. And there comes a point where you can either seriously go into business or make a decision not to go into business, and I'm glad we stopped when we did. I think, I don't mind that it's very little remembered. I think people are interested in underground music, remember us. And we only ever cared about being underground, really. We never wanted to be on the front page of the New Musical Express.
And I think it's always good for things to end. I like, you know, really good things come out of something ending and changes shape and all of that.
I think we left a good-looking corpse, really.